Well, hey now. Welcome to Fitz Electric Bar. It's been a little bit of time since my State of my Union. And let's just kick it off with some, what do they call it? Radical honesty, and say that my aspirations for limiting my purchases is not yet accomplished. But it's important to, how can we say it, have compassion. And it's important for me to have self-care, because you don't want to shame the addict, right? Anyways, enough about that. This one is one I haven't done in a while. This is what's in my pile and stuff that I've got recently. The last one I did was in October, so there's a little bit of a glut here that I'm going to go through, and I'm going to try to keep myself sort of on track, although that's very hard for me. I tend to love the tangents. But going to share some stuff that I've got that I've purchased, both new and used. And also just wanted to let you know, towards the end of this, I've got some recent purchases that I made of both Grateful Dead live recordings as well as the Jerry Garcia Band. And I was lucky enough to join the live stream that Mazzy did hours after Bob Weir died. Like him, maybe on a different level, but I was very impacted by it. I've been a Grateful Dead fan for many, many years and had seen Dead and Company many times, including at the Sphere. Not a Deadhead per se, but I've become very, very enthralled with the whole Jerry Garcia, Grateful Dead, Tangents, solo stuff. And so, yeah, it really hit me fairly hard. So it was nice to commiserate. It was almost felt like an online wake. You know, you're not always talking about Grateful Dead, Bob Weir stuff, but you're with like-minded people who are fans, and that's kind of the starting point of how you're interacting, which I think is kind of cool. Anyways, this is a long way of saying that on Friday, my time, Saturday in the Pacific, doing a Zoom call to talk about Grateful Dead, all things Grateful Dead, Bob Weir, with Brian Tokyo Record Style, my friend Simon in Australia. He and I have had many adventures where the Grateful Dead have been the soundtrack, and also went to the Sphere together for Dead and Company. So yeah, I should have that up hopefully sometime Saturday or Sunday at the latest. So hope you can check that out. Okay, let's jump in. So new stuff. And I'm going to try to remember to, where applicable, select a song or two from each of these, just in case you want to see whether it's your cup of tea. Some of them I don't necessarily have anything in particular, but Bert Jansch, I've got a lot of his stuff now. My gateway into Bert Jansch. So Bert Jansch, British guitarist, kind of folk finger picking, was through a song that's on this box set. So this is A Man I'd Rather Be. There's a part one, part two. This is actually a box that includes his records in their entirety. So this has got from 67 until 73, 5 records: Nicola, Birthday Blues, Rosemary Lane, and Moonshine. So 4 records actually, not 5. And the song that got me really hooked on Bert Jansch, and I've stuck with it, is Poison off Birthday Blues. And so I highly recommend you give that a listen, see if Bert is your kind of guy. Often plays with John Renbourn, again, Pentangle as well. I like his solo stuff almost a little more, but he's great. Circling Sun, I think this is their second record. A couple of years ago, I got a record by them. Jazz Bums had recommended. I really enjoyed it. I can't say I've really given this much of a listen yet. It's one of those ones that I've got at the ready. Misha Panfilov, one of my obsessions over the years. I've toned it down a bit because this guy, like Greg Fote, they release like 4 to 6 records a year. So, there's no point being a completist. So, but I really enjoyed this one. I screamed it. This one's called Skyway. So Misha Panfilov, really there's just one track on each side, and you can give a listen to The Sky for You and I, the first one. Really nice. It's just got a very airy space, spacey. I don't mean like trippy, but a lot of space in the sound. You can feel the room in the recording, and I think that's I really enjoy that. And again, a whole side of a song, and as I like to say, takes you on a journey. Christmas, my family knows. As you get older, in the old days, fathers, grandfathers would get socks or ties for Christmas. Thank God those days are over. My stepson knows what to get me, and he himself a really good guitarist, my stepson, and he's a big Joe Pass fan, so he got me Virtuoso, one of the Pablo reissues on the original jazz classics. Just fantastic. I mean, it's just, just Joe Pass, so it's just clean, beautiful, and a really nice recording. So thank you, Ty. Bought a few records. Warner's had a before Christmas sales. It was like 25% off. I got this one, which is the reissue of Feet Don't Fail Me Now. So, again, radical transparency or honesty is I've never really quite gotten Little Feat. I respect them more than I actually think, I really want to listen to Little Feat. One exception to that is Spanish Moon, which is the last song on side one. I think when I went down to New Orleans and had this amazing experience listening to Dumpsta Funk play live with one or two of the Nevilles in there, and I've always loved the Neville brothers, I kind of understood a little bit that kind of groove funk based, and I like that kind of music, but I don't know why. They haven't really become a great passion of mine. But I thought if I'm going to dive into one, I'm going to get this. And this is a 2-record set, the reissue, that includes outtakes, alternate versions, things like that. So there we go. Second record I got on that Warner's sale was, I don't have any Randy Newman. Mazzy's a big Randy Newman fan, so he mentions him quite often. I literally am familiar with like Sail Away, Short People, which in a way kind of turned me off Randy Newman a bit, from the radio days. But this is I guess a greatest hits, the best of Randy Newman. And again, I haven't listened to this a whole heck of a lot, but I'm looking forward to diving more into Randy Newman's somebody I think, well, of course I've got to love, singer-songwriter, wry sense of humor. So to be listened to still. And then Rhino, High Fidelity, Ooh La La. So I really like the Faces. And again, a band that was around, my friends in high school were Faces fans, and I kind of got in more post Faces and Rod Stewart, like Every Picture Tells a Story and Gasoline Alley and stuff like that. But I was kind of drawn even by the song Ooh La La, which is actually a Ronnie Wood song. But I've become a big Ronnie Lane fan. I've mentioned him on my channel before. So this is one of those numbered Ooh La La, still available. I just bought this, so the numbered ones of 5,000 still available. Another one of those Simon recommendations. Simon often steers me in some really interesting directions that become important to me. And this one, David Axelrod, Song of Innocence. This is a very unique record. If you don't know it, it's the arrangements, it's fantastic. It's a beautiful sounding record. There's a lot going on. Really hard to describe really what this music is. It's not a singular genre, I don't think, but really enjoy this. David Axelrod's Song of Innocence. Oh yeah, I've been forgetting about tracks to recommend. So I think really, I don't have anything in particular off of this. I think just start with the first song and I think you'll enjoy it. I mentioned this on my Best of 2025 Late Night Records, and this being Greg Folk, 6 Days in Lausanne. Again, just drop the needle or hit the Spotify or your stream right off the get-go from the first song. It's got a mood and an atmosphere, and I kind of call this one of my favorite late night records of 2025. It's really nice. A couple records that followed up. So one thing I want to do is to do a little bit about my time in Berlin, particularly record shopping in Berlin, some of the shops I went to. And I was inspired because one of the records that I, again, put up in my top 2025 shorts, and it was spiritual jazz, was Ad Hoc by Organic Pulse Ensemble. That got me into getting a couple others. I ordered these on Bandcamp straight from the label, from Puro and Ultrani. Zither Sweet. I talked more about this on my spiritual jazz top 2025 releases, so I won't go into great details, but this is Huero Peña and Beck. Also really good. This one's a little crazier in a good way, and Zither Sweet Organic Pulse Ensemble is a little more languid, I guess. Everyone who's a Neil Young fan knows this. I've got the original Tonight's the Night, but the extra tracks, I think some of them were on Archives Volume 3, but I'm not a completist with Neil. My God, if you're a completist with Neil, you got a lot of work to do and a lot of money to spend. But he is really ultimately one of my favorite artists. And then I haven't really listened to this a lot, but boy, the little bit that I have listened to it, it's really nice. I really love the way that they've produced this. The crowd sounds and interaction with Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds is really good. It is a real live record. It's not one of those ones where it's recorded live, but they've sucked all of the energy of the live, the environment out. This one's got it in, and nice heavy bass. Full bottom end, as you would hope for a live recording. Another one that compliments of Mr. B, Simon had recommended years ago, Jazz Raga, and this was my entry point into Gabor Szabo. He's not everybody's cup of tea. Hungarian guitarist, very quirky, sometimes just horrendous, not horrendously, but really amusingly cheesy. And other times he just creates these grooves that are fantastic. And it's kind of dated in the best possible way. It's got a real sort of 60s sound to it. This was, don't know when this was recorded, but this must be probably either a 60s or a 70s thing. Anyways, this used to go for a whole lot of money. I had this on CD, and Vampa Soul has released this. This was originally out on the Impulse label. I would say, on this particular album, Caravan is a great track to listen to. If you like Paint It Black, there's kind of a bizarro Paint It Black version, but I don't love that actually. I think even Walking on Nails, it starts off and you'll probably think, oh my God, this is so weird, because he's talking, atonal, which is, he does a lot of atonal stuff, which I quite like. But then it goes into just some fabulous groove. Walking on Nails might be, if you can get past the beginning part. And then this one, which I did not know, Gabor Szabo's Dreams. This is great. So this is a real revelation for me. A little bit less sort of weird. I love Jazz Raga for its weirdness. This one's a little more straight ahead, but the ones I would say here are The Lady in the Moon and Ferris Wheel are two tracks to listen to give you. And you might want to start with this and see if Gabor Szabo is your cup of tea or not. And related to that, this is actually these are all new records except for this one. This was reissued recently, Paul Desmond. He does Take 10, I guess a little take on the Brubeck Take 5. Look at this, I love this. He's kind of like Bill Evans there. He's either playing an instrument or he's doing your bookkeeping for you. But Gabor Szabo plays guitar. Fairly understated, but some nice Gabor Szabo guitar work. During the holidays and around Boxing Day and Boxing Day sales, I took advantage to kind of fill in some of my the essentials in my jazz collection. So some of the ones I got, Herbie Hancock's Maiden Voyage, I've been listening to that on CD for years, get that on vinyl, another Herbie. I don't know how you pronounce that, Empyrean Isles, I guess. A little bit more out there, and I really enjoy that. And I've been filling in on the Wayne Shorter as well. So I got Night Dreams, another record that I have listened to a lot on CD, but nice to have on vinyl. This one, I've been kind of going through a deeper Lee Morgan dive, and this one I really like, Search for the New Land, Lee Morgan. And with these jazz ones, I'm not going to necessarily select a song from it, but these are great to stream. This is a really nice record as well. And that Search for the New Land, actually, the title track off it, this is a great way to start. It's got some really nice guitar work that actually reminded me a little bit from the Pharoah Saunders Faro record, which was released as also a box set recently. But it's got some really nice little guitar work on it, and very subtle but beautiful underpinning. And this one, I was a big National fan. I don't know why, I just kind of grew a little bit tired of the National. I'm always open to returning. But I heard this and I thought, I don't know that I really need to own this on vinyl. It was a pretty good price, so I decided to buy it. But I like his voice, and I like, there's some songs on here I really enjoy. This is also kind of interesting. Not that it's blue vinyl. It's really the aesthetic of the cover is really quite nice. But this is really funny. If you can see there, there's some bubbles, some air bubbles in the label. And in a strange way, because I don't think that was intentional, it's not like that on side B. But in a strange way, I really like that. It doesn't affect the listening, and I like the aesthetics of that. So there you go. So this is, Matt Berninger and Get Sunk. And I think one of the tracks, right off the bat, Inland Ocean is a great track, and Bonnet of Pins is a really nice one as well, if you want to. And just a little more stripped down than maybe the National sound. And so his voice kind of stands out, and it's really quite good. Continue on the used records vein. First Psychedelic Furs record used to have this, the Canadian pressing. This is a UK one. Love that cover. A lot of people think of the Psychedelic Furs as kind of Love My Way or I can't even remember, but the later stuff that they were known for and got them on the radio. But this first record, I remember thinking these guys are dangerous. Like they sounded like really on edge. The opening track, India. It's just like and then Into You Like a Train. That's on here, isn't it? Nope, maybe not. Maybe I'm comparing that with something else. But India's great, Imitation of Christ, Psychedelic Furs. Now, again, a little bit of honesty on this. I had this record, loved this record. Somehow lost it because it was in the PQ and R milk crates that got destroyed during some flooding. But I put this on and I really enjoyed listening to it, but I'm just not sure. It's like another whole idea for a show, I think, is how you've got friends in your life and maybe you've kind of drifted apart and you think if you met that person now that you wouldn't be friends, but you've got all this history. It's like that with this a little bit. Like if I was just listening to Psychedelic Furs for the first time right now, partly because of the stage I'm at in my life, I don't know that I would love this, but at the time I loved it, absolutely loved it, and nice to have in the collection. I just don't know how often I'm going to play it. Complete Blind by Peter Hamel. This guy's put out a lot of records. I've heard his name mentioned many, many times by many people. This one was I think a 4.5 stars on AllMusic. I didn't bother to stream, so I just got this used. And I'm a big fan of Steven Wilson and his podcast, Album Years. And he talks often about the Ham. He just loves Peter Hamel and the cohort that does the podcast with Steven Wilson. I forget his name. Loves the Ham. So listen to it once or twice. Was finding it a little hard to get into, but it's on certain days when I've got the energy, I'll give it some deeper listening. And another artist that Jesse Winchester, if I've got the story right, singer-songwriter, I think he was a conscientious objector during the Vietnam War and moved to Montreal, I think. Anyway, singer-songwriter, I think this is his first record. Haven't listened to this yet, so just sitting there ready to go. Les Voix Mystères de Bulgaire. These, I really enjoy these guys. I had volume 2 and I found volume 1. Again, not something I probably put on often, but, and certainly not when my wife is around. She would run screaming, and there's very little that really upsets her, but I'm pretty sure this would. When she heard the Cambodian choir on a Pat Metheny record, she just came down the stairs going, "What is this?" But she's usually very tolerant of my taste. Anyways, I've mentioned before, I think the Trio Bulgare have played with Kate Bush, maybe on, the Sensual World. Really just magical voices. Don't know that I could pick a particular track off of this. It's something that either intrigues you or, like my wife, leaves you running from the house. Christmas present for my stepson was that he and I are going to go see Pat Metheny live. I haven't been keeping track of what Pat Metheny's been doing. Saw him once or twice with Lyle Mays, the Pat Metheny group, and loved it, and a fan of his. And this one, Off Ramp, is a really good record, but particularly the song Are You Going With Me? If you don't know it, give it a listen. I find it very hypnotic. Great production, just a really good groove, really nice. Haven't listened to this yet, but so my thing with Pat Metheny is that I found over the years when I've been keeping my eyes open for his records, I've had a hard time here in the Pacific Northwest finding Pat Metheny records. So when I find them, I pick them up, building my Pat Metheny collection. So Pete Townsend recently released box sets of some of his solo shows, I guess from, I don't know, the 70s or 80s or something, I guess the 80s. And I don't know if you're like me. I mean, I'm a huge Who fan, but over the years, I've really come to love his solo studio outtake stuff. So Scoop, another Scoop. I think there are 3 Scoops, double records or triple records, and I really love them. I love Pete Townsend sort of demos and in progress. I really enjoy the demos off of the Who's Next Lifehouse box set. Some really interesting stuff, and he's one of those artists to me. Townsend is that having a record of his creative process, in other words, early demos and then maybe a later different version and where he's exploring different ways of performing the songs. I find it fascinating. Some artists, you really don't need a view into that, into their world. You just need the final product. But Townsend for me is one of those people where it really is interesting. So don't know anything about this, but this is a single record. I don't know if it ended up on that large box set of his live solo stuff, but Pete Townsend, Deep End Live. I believe this is a 1986 show. This is a Vancouver jazz singer, June Katz, or Cates, I'm not sure, probably Cates. This one's called Shiny Stockings. And I don't know this record at all. I have another one that was recorded more recently, and beautiful voice. And so we're going to give this a listen. This was all of 398, so it's like, gotta get it. This is an interesting one. I didn't know about this. This is a 10-inch. It looks like an old 78, but it's a 10-inch of Lucinda Williams. And this is That Time of Night, and it's got That Time of Night in side B. I'm guessing it's one song done. Oh, interesting. Lucinda Williams on side A and Michael Chapman on side B. Is that Michael Chapman, the producer? Anyways, don't know this, but Record Store Day release, apparently. 2012 Record Store Day. Nancy Wilson. Again, I collect some of her stuff. She, to me, is a beautiful jazz singer. One of the songs that just slayed me and stuck with me and kept me as a big Nancy Wilson fan. It's not on this record, but it's Guess Who I Saw Today, about a woman greeting her husband after he comes home from work, and she says, "Guess who I saw today?" And then at the end, you realize that she saw him with another woman. It's pretty powerful, sung beautifully, and pretty powerful message. Reminds me a little bit of like Nina Simone's Plain Gold Ring. Living Stereo, hear a lot about their the sound quality of Living Stereo. Again, this wasn't an expensive record. Harry Belafonte at Carnegie Hall, supposed to be a great performance. I've not heard it, but this RCA Living Stereo, it's definitely got a little bit of a wear and tear, but I'm really looking forward to listening to this. Another artist like Pat Metheny that I've been kind of actively gobbling up his music has been Bruce Cockburn. Bruce Cockburn's still alive, and a great folk and rock singer from Canada, from my hometown in Toronto. Or actually, he's from Ottawa originally, but there's a Bruce Cockburn record. Don't know this one, but I think I'm up to about 8 or 10 Bruce Cockburn records in his collection, 1973. Seen him on recent tours a couple times with my friend Eli, and he's still great. He's definitely hurting physically, but performs beautifully and just has a great catalog. Finally, another Living Stereo. My grandmother was a huge South Pacific fan. I don't know if this is gonna really turn my crank, but this was a $6 record, and original Canadian pressing, nice shape. And maybe I'll kind of have memories of my grandmother when I listen to that. And finally, just sort of closing off with some of the Grateful Dead type stuff. So this is the most recent one I got. And this is Jerry Garcia Band, recorded in 1990. This is kind of, the classic lineup, as it were, with Merle Saunders, John Conn on... Jerry, John Conn, David Kemper, the two women here, and then Merle Saunders there. The two women singers, I think it's important not to name the whole band and not name them. So beautiful backing vocals, Jackie LaBranche and Gloria Jones. 1990 recordings. So Jerry recorded a lot in various incarnations. And in fact, this Warfield poster here, Jerry Garcia Band Electric, would have been the same lineup that's on that box. But when I went into AI and asked specifically the shows, these were April and August shows, but recorded at the Warfield. And this was a favorite of Jerry's. Apparently did 90 shows there in various incarnations of the Jerry Garcia Band. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, down below is Jerry Garcia acoustic with David Grisman. So a popular location for him. And this is a great sounding record. Do recommend it. It seems that it comes in and out of sale every once in a while on Amazon. So I picked this up for a good price. A couple other really good prices of things I picked up. Oh, before I move on to that, Jerry Garcia Band. So that box set, I would say, so this is one of the things that many people gloss over who are not Grateful Dead fans, or specifically like not fans as opposed to not really fans, is that Jerry Garcia's stuff is very different. He's very soulful, R&B soul. And, you know, he does covers of like a Peter Tosh song, Stop That Train. He does 4 Bob Dylan songs, just incredibly soulfully done. He actually covers a Bruce Cockburn song, Waiting for a Miracle. So this is really nice. So if you're going to listen to this, you might think about the way you do the things you do, or Waiting for a Miracle off of the first side, the first 2 songs if you're streaming. But if you want to get an idea of how is the Jerry Garcia Band different than the Grateful Dead, my recommendation is you can bring this up on the streaming service. It is Volume 8 of Garcia Live, November 23rd, 1991 at the Bradley Center in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And go to Shining Star. This is a song that, you know, had like a kind of a minor hit by the Manhattans, a beautiful soul song. And his version of it is so great, and his guitar playing, the level of emotive, soulful playing is just exquisite. And the backup vocals on this, the 2 singers, just beautiful. I think it's the same singers that are on the Jerry Garcia Band album I just showed you there. Highly, highly recommend that. Shining Star, 2/3 of the way through that show. Okay, it's running a bit long. 2 others I got that were big sales on Amazon in the States. This is a new thing for me, and probably something that would be better for me not to know. And that is, I can order stuff on the US Amazon, have it shipped up here. They'll cover the duties. I mean, they'll put in a price for the duties, but you know what you're paying. And sometimes on the US site of Amazon, they have really good deals. So a little embarrassed to be buying off of Amazon in the US in particular. It seems like a double mistake in terms of what we as Canadians are trying to do to support our country and to rebuff American politics, but enough of that. This one here, Road Trips, which is another series. So there's Dick's Picks, Dave's Picks, Road Trips. This one, Austin, 1971. And in particular, one of the things that really appealed to me about this is there's a preponderance of, or a lot of, Bobby-related stuff. Bobby tends to play like the Tex-Mex or the cowboy stuff, right? So we've got El Paso, we've got Me and My Uncle, we've got, Mexicali Blues. So, I mean, usually Jerry and Bob would alternate songs pretty much. But there's some really good sort of core Bobby stuff on here, so I got that. And this Mother Lode, I'm a big fan of 72 to 74 in particular. This is Denver, Colorado, 1973. This was $68 US. So converting it to Canadian, I think it was still about $100, $110. And looky there, side 12 and side 13. So it's a 7 LP box set. Side 14 is an etching, and really nice recording. You know, I really love it when they recordings really fill in Phil's bass, like that Phil's bass is prominent, because that's part of what Live Dead Show was all about, and it is that. So limited edition of 3000. I noticed the price has gone back up, but anyways, got it while it was hot, as it were. And then Jerry Garcia Greatest Hits. I've got a few of his solo records, but I just thought, again, let's get that on. Something where I've just sort of play some of the popular stuff all together if I'm not interested in a deep dive. So Sugaree, Birdsong, all the good stuff. So that's it. Hope you can tune in. It's not a live stream, but I'm going to be putting out that chat with Brian Tokyo, Record Style, and Simon once that's done, probably this weekend, talking all things Bob Weir, Grateful Dead, etc. So carpe diem, motherfuckers.